internal and external, okay, thread on here. Now this drawing has been created, if we look at the sizes on here, we've got an internal hole of 10mm and a hole here, or a circle should we say, sorry, that's going to create a boss of 10mm. So they have been defined, and what we're going to do is we're going to apply a thread. So there's two sort of ways of doing this, a long-winded way which we can have a look at, okay, in this part of Studio, and there's a short way of doing it. There's no standard tool to do this on the top. What you'll have to do, okay, is find this thread creator. And if you go down to the bottom, you see I've got quite a lot. If you click on Add Custom and search for that, you can click on it and then that will load in. And then you've got the option, depending on obviously how many you've got down here, it will be on your list. So click on the thread creator. So we've got a few different options here. And what I've done, if you go on Google and type in Onshape custom, okay, features, like this, custom features, you will then have a list, okay, and on the list, if you select it, is thread creator. And this gives you a very good overview, and it also gives you examples on the bottom. So what we've got here is the options which we're going to work through, so we can use this as a reference. So the face you select, and this could be sort of an internal, external, okay, is basically where do you want to apply the thread. Alright, so it determines the internal, external face. The standard is the profile that you want to select, so standard, okay, and you can select that. The thread direction, if you don't tick it, okay, it creates a standard right hand thread, and then if you select left handed, of course it'll apply a left hand thread. Your pitch can be determined by yourself, so if you want to apply that, and when we apply it, because of the standards that we're using, we're going to apply these in millimeters, not inches, okay, but the pitch, and you can see here, there's no constraint, so you can decide on the pitch, determined by the fixing, okay, that you'll be using, and also maybe by the tap, okay, that you're using to tap the hole, okay, or the pitch, okay, for example, or the thread pitch of if you're applying, say, a nut, okay, onto a threaded boss, okay, or feature. We'll look at that. The next option, number of starts, note number 3, is the multiple starts is typically used for a lead, okay, type of screw, okay, we might need to apply that depending on the feature. The lengths of the thread, you can choose a number of different options, and we'll have a look at that. And you can go full length, so that will go from the top to the bottom, as you'll see, or you can determine by a number of turns, and also, okay, by another option as well, which we'll look at soon as well. So the distance, basically. You can also add, look at the starting taper and determine the angle, and then we can also look at this option here, so leading pitches, and really a leading simulates a tap, okay, or a die that you've used. So usually 2 pitches will simulate a standard tap, 1 pitch would be a bottoming tap, and we'll look at taps and dies, okay, when we teach you the practical element of things, if I teach you, for example. So we're going to apply these and have a go. So this is a good one to look at, and I'll leave the link to this, okay, in the description of the tutorial. So if we come back to this design and the options, so faces, so we're going to choose this out one first, and we're going to choose the standard. So you can see it's trying to apply this, so we need to be a little bit patient. So we're going to use ISO standard, and I'm going to look at this angle. It's automatically doing a right-handed thread. If I click on this one, okay, it will change that to a left-handed thread, and again it will update, okay, on the screen. And you see after a few seconds, okay, it will update. The pitch, I can decide on the pitch. If I decide on, say it's going to be 2mm, you'll see the pitch on the screen change. There you go, so we've got more of a coarse, okay, pitch, okay, and thread on there. So if you wanted it, okay, 1.75 for example, you can type that in, and again it will update. At the moment it's fully threaded, so it's going from the top right down to the bottom. If you choose, say, number of turns, you can decide on, for example, I of that pitch, and you click and it will update. It's got quite a bit to think about. There you go. So it's looking at the 1.75 and it's looking at the overall diameter, and it's creating 10 turns of that. You could get distance, and I'm going to do a distance of say 12, and it will go from the top down 12 millimeters in total. So it's not nothing to do with number of turns, it's just going that distance, and applying that pitch within that distance. Start taper, if we look up here, this is to do with this angle where it starts. If you're putting on, for example, a nut onto there, then changing and affecting this angle will make that sort of easier or harder to do. So if we type in 10 and update it, you'll see that angle changes, and we can type in 45. If in doubt, you can just leave it on the standard setting. Alright, and then leading pitches again, depending on, as we've said, you can put in 2 there if you want to use like a standard, or you can leave it as 1. So on that, I'm actually going to change that to fully threaded 1.75 is fine. And click tick, and it's working out that it's M10 because it's working out that it's looking at the initial drawing. If I change the drawing to 12 millimeters and then update to say M12 by 1.75, left-handed, thread if I want to, don't, and then tick it, and it will just leave it as a standard, thread, update that. If we come to a cross section, so right click on another cross section, and look at the front, you can see at the moment we've got that, thread on there and a pitch. What we can do now is we can go in again and create an internal one. So we click on that internal face. It's going to obviously process that and work it out, depending on how good your computer is and also the internet. It will then create basically an internal thread, as you can see, and I've got my standard in here, so you can go to the standard you want. We can decide on the left hand or right handed, will be unticked. We could decide on the pitch, and again you've got all the same options in here. So if you wanted fully threaded, or you wanted to decide actually I want to do 10 turns of that pitch, that will go 10 turns down, or you might say actually I want a certain distance and I want it 15 millimeters. Again, that will update. And there you go. Alright, and if you confirm that, again it's looking at the size, it's looking at the pitch 1.75, and it's looking at standard right hand thread, so not left handed. If you click left handed, the label will update like so, and we can click the tick, and as you can see